Hello everyone, Geometry Dash is a total of 7 game modes, with another one being added in update 2.2. Out of all of these game modes, I would say Ship is the best one. Now before I explain why it's the best game mode, I should clarify that this is just an opinion, and I would also want to say what I mean by best. When I say a game mode is the best one, it means it has the most potential for good, fun and creative gameplay. It also has to be a good game mode conceptually. I will be giving 3 points on why I think Ship is the best game mode in this video, but before that, I should explain the basics of Ship. You enter a pink portal and turn into a ship. If you hold, you go up, and if you don't, then you go down, and it is a very simple idea. It started in the first level of the game, and it's very intuitive, and it also allows for a lot more gameplay potential with gravity portals, pads, and orbs. Anyways, firstly, Ship is not a linear game mode. For most game modes, there is a set click pattern that you have to follow to beat any part of a level. You don't have any choice. The way you learn levels is usually through developing muscle memory. But for Ship, you can use almost any sort of click pattern to pass a given part. This is true for all difficulties of level. In Ato, for example, for the entire first cube, you have to hit certain orbs. There is absolutely no leeway. If you hit the wrong orb, then you die. But then you enter the ship and you can do literally whatever you want as long as you don't hit a spike. This goes even for the highest levels in the game. Minus Try is a top 10 demon, and the ships in it are basically just about ship control. You can't memorize a click pattern to pass them, you would have to adjust to your surroundings. Concrete Halls is a layout that is only ship, consisting of purely ship control. It is literally less demon difficulty, except you can't make a click pattern for anything in the level. You just have to figure out a way when playing the level. It is also fully sight readable, like you could actually beat this without practice mode if you wanted to. This concept for non-linear gameplay also works for easy levels, like basically any ship fight will be non-click pattern based, except for when there are a lot of orbs that you have to click, but it's still more ship control than a click pattern. You still have to time the orbs correctly according to your previous clicks. From the easiest levels to the hardest ones, in Ship you aren't given a set click pattern you have to remember. You just have to find a way to go through the spikes and adjust to your surroundings. Obviously this isn't always true like the ship's Nacron, the highest level in the game, but it might be more ideal to find a click pattern considering how tight the gaps are and how high the level is. But surprisingly, a lot of people use different click patterns for the ship in the level, and also like a third of the ship clicks are orbs anyways, which aren't really linear. Secondly, Ship allows for some of the best flow out of any game mode. I think a lot of people fail to see Ship as a good game mode because they think of Ship as a game mode where you are either in a massive empty space or a tight straight fly, but it has the potential for so much more. It allows for very smooth movements and sharp movements both combined. It is also very much a momentum based game mode. The things that make Ship so good for flow are that 1, it moves in a really smooth way while also being able to use objects like pads, orbs and portals to add more elements to that flow. And 2, the entry and exit of a ship portal can also have massive flow potential with orbs and gravity portals in the entry and exit. I'll list a few of my favorite examples of ship flow here. Moment uses a lot of slopes and blue orbs to force you to do a lot of holding. It's really neat and fun to do and it flows well. Cherry Swirls has some very simple ship sections with smooth entry and exits. It's nothing complicated and actually very basic but still works perfectly with the vibe of the level. I Now a Dream has a combination of smooth movements and some pads, and it has really nice entry and exits. Also I like the block usage to break up the flow a bit, and it also represents the song pretty well. Untitled Unmask's drop has you moving up and down in a really precise way through the structures, which works perfectly with the song, and it's just satisfying to watch honestly when your icon moves like this. Visual Fallacy Ship has a lot of orbs and I think it's pretty cool. Very linear but it still works well for what it is. You'll probably notice that 4 of the 5 examples I gave are from levels above Insane Demon. That's because the potential for Ship increases way more with higher difficulty. Thirdly, Ship is a skill based game mode. Now of course you might say, but every game mode is skill based, and while that is correct, it is far more true for Ship. Because of the fact that Ship is not a linear game mode, meaning it's not click pattern based, makes it more skill based. Ship control is a skill about knowing exactly how your ship moves in response to your clicks and releases, and being able to navigate tight obstacles. It also helps that the click, hold and release parts are all equally important in Ship. You can't just memorize a click pattern and pass a hard ship section, you actually have to be good at Ship. In the words of the best ship player, Fossa, referring to him verifying the hardest ship challenge, I don't really have click patterns for ship challenges, mostly just a very rough idea of when to click. It's way too hard to make an accurate click pattern as every click is dependent on the previous click, so it basically forces you to read and react to where your ship is. You have to be good at controlling your ship movement to do hard ship sections. The best ship players are able to play stuff most of us don't even have a chance of doing. Finally, Ship has a really big emphasis on both the clicking, holding, and releasing parts of a click. All of them are considered equally important in Ship, unlike some other game modes like Spider or UFO, where the hold and release don't really matter at all. In this sense, it's actually somewhat similar to Wave, since Wave has an equal emphasis on the click and release. The difference is that Wave is arguably the most click pattern based game mode, with Ship being the least. This I would assume is also why Ship and Wave are the only game modes where you could actually hear someone say they are specifically good at. Like, you always hear the term wave carries or a ship player, but you never hear this for any other game mode. Now of course, Ship does have some drawbacks for being the best game mode, and I need to acknowledge them. Most importantly, Ship works differently on different refresh rates. Now of course this is true for all game modes, but it's way more obvious for Ship. You have way more control over your ship on a higher FPS because of your clicks being more accurate, and also the gravity of Ship being slightly lower on higher FPS. Also, dual ship for some reason has way higher gravity no matter your FPS, which makes dual ship feel more heavy. This can be really annoying sometimes, considering you basically have to adjust yourself to controlling different physics for every duel with a ship. Ships below Demon kinda aren't amazing. Sure, there are some good ones I can think of, but its full potential is only really explorable in Demons, because below that difficulty, most ship parts just become a massive empty space you have to fly in with gravity portals thrown in. I mean, when you think of some good ship parts, it's much more likely to be from a Demon. Straight fly is really overdone, where all you do is go in a straight line. It is uninteresting, and I wouldn't be surprised if this was the main reason that people disliked Ship. And finally, Ship below a certain difficulty is so non-linear that it can actually be very difficult to get the player to follow a pattern that the creator wanted them to. This isn't always a bad thing, it's mostly a good thing actually, but sometimes if you want a player to click to the song in a certain way, it's impossible with easy ship parts. Anyways, that's all. Please feel free to comment anything you want to add to this, subscribe, and goodbye for now.